Hey guys, I'm going to wait a few seconds here and let people get on if you're going to get on tonight. As always, let me know if you're watching this as we're going. If you have any questions, I'll try to keep an eye on any questions. If not, let me know in the comments that you watched the replay and if it helped you out at all. Hey Jen. All right. As you can see, I'm in my kitchen tonight. Appropriate place for nutrition talk. All right, just gonna wait a few more seconds here. It's just 5:01. All right, so tonight I wanted to go over, I had posted in the group earlier asking if going over processed foods and kind of figuring out what is a processed food would be helpful to you guys. So that's what I wanted to cover tonight. And just to give you guys like some perspective on that, when we think about food in general, we commonly go to calories, and it's really popular right now to think about macros. And even with me as a coach, that is typically something that I prescribe to people. All of my clients are familiar with macros. If you're not, I'm sure I've done a previous video on macros, or I'll probably do another one in the future. But macros are simply the way that our food is broken up into carbs, fats, and proteins, the macro major nutrients that you need from food. So when we think about that, sometimes we get a little bit lost on our actual food choices when we turn the food actually into more like numbers, thinking about grams of protein, grams of carbs, grams of fat. And sometimes we forget actually like about quality of food. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover tonight. And actually I just heard a statistic the other day that said people that eat more highly processed foods in general as their diet, on average eat about 500 calories more per day than somebody who eats less processed foods. So if you think about that, 500 calories a day times 7, you got 3,500 calories a week. That's a pound. So over time, if you're eating highly processed foods, you can put on weight just from that alone, without even thinking about any other factors like exercise or things like that. So now that we've discovered that, processed foods, I like to think of them in kind of 3 buckets or 3 categories. The first one being whole foods. So this is going to be your best option, your best choice, anything whole food that kind of came in its natural form. So I'm going to show you examples of all of these in just a second here. Second one would be lightly processed foods, so kind of like your next best option. So things again that are pretty in its natural state, but may have gone through some type of process in order to get it on the shelf. Then the third category, I don't even know what to call it, so I actually labeled it DOOF, which is food backwards. It's kind of an inside joke we have here in our family too, where basically it's not even really food at all. It's highly processed. It's gone through several processes to get on the shelf and into your mouth. So if you can't even really tell what type of food it is or what you're eating, chances are good it's probably highly processed, or you opened it from a box or a package. Then chances are good it's highly processed. But again, I have some examples here. I have children, I have DOOF in our house. And again, I try to go from those first 2 buckets as much as we can. But I'll be honest, it's a struggle. Especially that whole foods category. It requires some work. It requires, some preparation and things like that. So, I'll be honest, I tend to pick from the lightly processed foods lately when I'm not in competition prep, and it's always a work in progress. I'm trying to get more vegetables, more fruits, things like that. But that's kind of where we'll start. I'll start you with some examples of whole foods. things that you want to be filling your diet with primarily. So we'll start with veggies. I got some broccoli in the house. As you can see, it's not opened. Not doing so well with that. We've got spinach, also great vegetable. Carrots, not opened. Guys, I'm not kidding. It's been a little rough. And then fruits. Obviously, we've got some strawberries, apple, a little clementine. So again, anything in its whole state and then also I've got just some more examples here. Eggs are obviously a whole food. And depending on how you cook them will, determine a little bit more on how healthy or whole they are as well. What else? We've got flaxseed, because flaxseed is just flaxseed. There's really it's not turned into anything else. And that's a whole food. All right, so that's some examples of whole foods. Now we're gonna get into more lightly processed, still healthy, again, but we wanna just try to go with much whole foods as we can. So I'm gonna start here. We've got quinoa. It's the lightly processed as well as steel cut oats or any kind of oatmeal. The ones that you wanna be typically a little bit more cautious of with oatmeals are the ones in the the packages that you rip open. The instant ones tend to have a lot more sugars and artificial things in them. So a little secret would be to just look at the back of the, whichever package it comes in, and just take a look at the number of ingredients in it. That's another good way to kind of determine if it's in one of these categories, because you could be thinking that it's completely healthy, and then you look on the back and it's got like 14,000 things in it that you have no idea how to pronounce. So I would probably not choose that one. Another one is cheese. Obviously it's not coming in its whole state, so it is a lightly processed food, but it is still has nutritional value to it. Rice cakes. It's really, again, the ingredients on the back, pretty much just rice and a couple other things in there. So that's, again, a better choice than some of your chips and things like that. Let's see here. Again, these are foods that I tend to gravitate towards in order to hit my macros. So I've got cottage cheese. Love these little packets of tuna fish. If you're looking to increase your protein, these are amazing. Some people are a little bit cautious on these just because they have a lot of high sodium in them. Like, for example, this is a hot buffalo style, so it's a little bit higher in the sodium, but I drink a ton of water, so I am not too concerned with the sodium level on that. Then we've got butter, lightly processed food there. And yogurts. Again, I typically go for the higher protein yogurts, Greek yogurts. Again, they are processed, but a good healthy option if you are able to eat dairy. And let's see here, shakes. Now I get this question all the time because for so many of us trying to increase our protein, it's hard. It's really hard to do. And so, things like eggs and meats, I'll talk about meat in a little bit in a second here, or like deli meats and things like that. Ways that you can increase your protein. I try to tell everybody, figure out what you like first and increase your quantity of it. So a lot of times, for example, someone will tell me, I can't get enough protein in, and I'll look at their food log and they're eating like one hard-boiled egg or one egg for breakfast. All right, let's jack that up a little bit. We can get like 3 or 4 eggs in and think about your protein level going up. But even with those types of suggestions, I still get people that struggle, and we're on the go. It might not be easy for you to cook, chicken or fish, ways to get the protein in. So I will suggest a whey protein shake or another type of protein shake if you don't drink whey. But again, take a look at the back on your shakes and see how many ingredients are in there. I typically recommend, the less ingredients, the better when you're gonna supplement with a shake. But it is a processed food, lightly processed. I am going to make a distinction between shakes and bars. I always tell people shakes are the better choice than a bar. If you take a look at a protein bar, typically they have a million different things in them and are, come in like a package. just not as beneficial, I think, as a shake. And plus, a shake is highly absorbable, gets right into the system. So I always tend to go with a shake before a bar. Then let's see here. All right, that's it for the lightly processed category. Moving on now to the fun one, to our doof category. Everybody's gonna hate me for this one. Let me just bring the whole bucket over. So in here, I was cleaning our pantry today. So a lot of the stuff just came out of the back of the pantry, which ice cream cone cups or cones. So yeah, there's really no nutritional value at all. I don't know, they're kind of like styrofoam-ish, but they're so good. I don't know. Then we've got pancake mix. Not really, you know, much going on as far as nutritional value. They're delicious again, but crackers. This one is tough for me. I tend to gravitate towards snacks and salty type foods, so this is a tough one. But if you look again at the nutritional value of any kind of crackers you're eating, not so great. And Jell-O was one that we had in our cupboard, and actually this is a sugar-free Jell-O, which is not the greatest either. Usually with sugar-free stuff, they're putting other stuff in there to make it taste delicious. So sometimes I actually prefer to, you know, if you're gonna have something like this, sometimes getting the real sugar isn't so bad, but again, everything in moderation. Then, bagels. So I know, you know, again, when we're looking at, you know, hitting our macros and things like that, these types of foods can be thrown in there. I'm not saying never have any of this stuff, but just realize the more foods you're eating like this, it's harder to kind of fulfill your nutritional needs, and you can go over on your macros just from eating this type of food, whereas you can eat a heck of a lot more volume with your healthy foods, your whole foods. And I think that's why a lot of people tell me it's so hard to get their food in when I'm trying to jack up their calories, is because that's a lot of food when you're eating healthy. And it's just something you have to keep working on, keep pushing forward with it, because after a while, when your metabolism turns on and you're eating this healthy food, you're gonna want more and more of it. You're gonna get that signal again to eat. So when we're not hungry is when it's a problem, and that's probably when you're eating a little bit more processed foods. You've lost that signal. Your body's saying, I'm good, I'm not hungry. A lot of people it's a hard concept to really understand and realize, especially when you're going through it. But we want you having some hunger cues when we're going through a healthy eating process. Now, the last one in here, I don't even know if you can call this food, marshmallows, but we have some in the house. You know, they're in there, they're in the pantry. And I think that's all I have for our doof category. And I hope that helped you out. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but let me know in the comments if you came up with any questions. Like I said, I hope this helped you out as far as determining some of your food choices. It can be difficult, especially when if you've worked with a trainer or a coach who assigns macros, and then you're like, whoa, what do I eat? It's a process. So, you know, just figuring out, once you're tracking your food, it's a really great way to kind of see where your numbers are falling and make you more aware. So again, let me know if I have any questions, and I hope this helped you out. All right, glad you enjoyed it, Jen. And we'll see you guys later. Let me know when you watch this and what questions you have and any topics you guys want to hear about in the future. I will be glad to do another video. I'm going to try to do at least one a week going forward. So, all right, guys, have a great night, and we will see you soon.